I'll share with you one story. I won't tell you what neighborhood it was, but they've been without power for about 4 days. They got their power restored. You know how hot and muggy it was, and you were so excited when you got power back to your house. And a gentleman was trying to reset a tree, and he accidentally cut a utility line. And the power utility companies had come from all over to help, or they couldn't get back to that one area, that neighborhood, for another 2 days. So they had 2 more days. They were calling the EOC, wanting to know who that was that cut that line. I'm sorry, we'll release that information. But these are the kind of unique things that we experience in the Emergency Operations Center. Oviedo does run a full EOC. It has a lot of information, a lot of infrastructure, radio equipment, and so forth that's part of that. Now, the recovery phase is the longest portion and the most costly. And naturally, it depends on the severity of the incident. Hurricane Charlie was a very unusual event. There were tornadoes built inside that storm. And when we went up in a helicopter a couple times following for those 3 storms, we could see the paths. And those homes had more shingle damage and pool closure damage and that type of thing than perhaps some of the other community. But Oviedo has a lot of standing trees. You know, it's a tree city. So the north end got clobbered really hard, was our most impacted area. Very, very bad, Mead Manor, Garden Grove, that area. Now, the other parts, perhaps where a lot of y'all live out east and south, those trees are starting to get up there. So we'll begin to experience those type of things in that part of the community as well. That helps us plan, because we literally go out and drive each year. I drive the streets myself to see how the tree canopy is doing. Not only for that, because Santa Claus will be on the fire engineer soon, and he fusses at me when he's got to duck all the tree limbs. We try to help out with that a little bit too. But
Santa noticed we needed a little trimming.
Yeah. But your city is well prepared. Are we capable of self-sustaining ourselves without outside help? Absolutely not. We are part of a statewide disaster response plan with law enforcement and fire rescue EMS. If anything goes beyond our capabilities, we can call in those resources. Fire rescue is part of a first response program in Seminole County, and resources just reciprocate with each other. There's a lot of things in place. Our Public Works Utility Division is excellent. They got some really hard-working people. In 2004, we didn't even have a fuel depot. We were buying fuel from the convenience stores who had no power. So 5 days, we were almost running out of fuel. And that was one of the first things we corrected in 2005. We got a fuel depot of our own and emergency power for it as well. So a lot of improvements have been made. So we're well on our way. So part 2 is, how can you get involved, or your HOA? And that is a community response teams. Now, we saw neighbors helping neighbors. There's no question about it. And that is the heart of Oviedo and a lot of communities. But they're going to come out, regardless whether they're part of a team or not. They're just going to come out of the woodwork and start helping. Now, I can tell you, it's difficult to form these teams. It's not easy, because you'll go 3, 4, 5, maybe 8, 10 years without an event. And members just kind of get dissatisfied with it, and they fall off the team. They're just not interested anymore. So we don't recommend the state certification program. It's too cumbersome. It's too hard for folks. People don't have the time to invest, to come twice a month to do all the training exercise and so forth. We kind of suggest a modified program. We call it the CRT team. And I'll tell you, some of the groups that are most effective at it is the faith-based churches. The Baptist Church has a team, Methodist Church has a team. We've been talking to some of the other congregations. They just really can energize their congregation to participate. And not only that, they have a lot of resources that are available to them that their associations have invested in as well. Baptist Association, Methodist, so forth. They have a lot of equipment and utilities. But you can do something similar in your HOA. But the key part of this program is that you get a captain involved that's willing to oversee it. The city can't oversee it. We don't have the resources to do that. We can help you organize it. We can help provide the training. I'm going to pass around, if y'all would just circulate these. This is a sample flyer of one we had just recently done. It had a different title on it. We participate in a group called the ION Group, Improving Oviedo Neighborhoods. And they have a desire to form a special response team, a CERT team. And so we're trying to help them get energized in those efforts as well. But forming the team, if you can get members, it's a little challenging. It's kind of like doing the community on patrol, trying to keep people engaged in those activities in your neighborhood. But if you can identify someone that's willing to do it, it is achievable. Some of the highlights are in here. I'm not going to go over everything. I can come back to your individual HOA and speak to you as well. But you don't have to have a great deal of money to do this. A lot of folks think, well, we need some $10,000 just to get started. You don't. A lot of your folks have this equipment already in their garages. I'd venture to say a handful have chainsaws and those type of things. That's where we would like to come and talk to them about those efforts. So what do the CERT teams do? Well, they really help people prepare for a storm, and they help a little bit after the storm. Now, we have identified in all of Seminole County, but Oviedo as well, our special needs patients, and we have what we call at-risk homes. Those are mostly in the minority section of town. They're homes that are up on a block. They're wood frame, metal roof kind of thing. They're 100-year-old homes, you know, so they're the houses we want to get people out of when those high wind events are coming. So we reach out to them. We have an inventory list. Jeff's community on patrol officers will go out door to door and pass out information, try to get them to move out and get in with family neighbors in a safer home or go to a shelter type thing. That takes a little burden off of us after the disaster hits and we're out surveying the community. When we do that windshield survey, we're looking for collapsed buildings and any life-threatening hazards. That takes about 24 hours. But we travel every city street. They're reporting that information back to me and a number of us in the EOC. All the directors are in the Emergency Operations Center. And now we're laying out our incident action plan to start tackling that disaster at hand. Our mayor, council members have already met. They've declared that a disaster declaration for us. And that helps us in case the funding revenue source picks up afterwards and it becomes a FEMA funding revenue event. So forming the team, if you can identify a captain, but you also have to be engaged in the community to find out those people that really need help. A lot of people don't want to ask for help, I found out. It's almost like pulling their teeth, you know, they're not willing to throw their hand up, but people do need help. You'll find there's some senior citizens perhaps, or some folks with some disabilities that just can't make the food run. Our recommendations today used to be you should prepare for 3 days of no power, so food, water, personal items for 3 days. Now we're strongly suggesting 7 days. That's more realistic in today's environment. FEMA, our state emergency management as well, has gotten out of the ice business. We will not get any ice delivered to our community for a disaster. Now we know they'll do it for something that just obliterates a town, but they are getting away from those type of things. They don't have the funding and the resources and staff to do it. Also, any community that has supermarkets like we do, and you'll be glad to know that all the public stores and Winn-Dixie have emergency power generation. So they're now able to contain that food at least for several days till they get their fuel replenished. So ice delivery is a lot easier than it used to be. But there's just things that'll be different in future storm events. Supplies can be a little hard to come by, as you know. Procuring your shuttering supplies and those type of things, if you want to cover your windows, we recommend that you do for anything a Cat 1 or above storm is recommended. There's other options as well out there. All of our city buildings have Hurricane 3M window film on them. We decided to do that because it takes so much time to shutter all the city buildings, and it's extremely expensive to do the electric shuttering. But we have year-round protection now. So if a tornado event, a high wind event just kicks up tonight, tomorrow, there's already protection on the buildings. So that had a lot of value to us. We have one last building we need to complete. So that's it in a nutshell. It can be a little difficult to form the teams, and you'll find members come and go off the team. It is possible. You have to kind of self-advertise this. You can put it in your newsletters, things of that nature. We'll be happy to come out and speak to your individual HOAs.